This is ESPN Boxing. Delighted to be joined by Owen. We've just seen Lyndon stop Braian Suarez in the 10th round in Bolton, defending or winning, sorry, the IBO World Light Heavyweight title. Owen, not the best fight, but a dramatic fight. We kind of didn't expect Suarez to knock Lyndon down early in the fight. Didn't expect him to be winning the fight at the time of the stoppage. And then we didn't expect possibly Lyndon to stop the fight. When he did, it kind of looked like the fight was slipping away from him. What did you think of it all?
Yeah, I think you're spot on there. I thought Arthur won one and two quite comfortably. Just sat behind the jab, didn't really do much else. And then I personally had Suarez winning every single round up until the stoppage, from round three onwards. Um, Dramatic stoppage, but possibly Suarez emptied the gas tank. So when he's been caught with, it was a decent body shot. Like I said to yourself, when we were ready to film this, I needed to see the replay because at first it just sort of, I seen them come in and I seen sort of it almost like a tap, and then Suarez was crippled over. So it was a bit of a, like you say, dramatic stoppage, just sort of come out of nowhere. But I don't think that would, to be honest, that was a terrible performance from Lyndon Arthur. Other than the jab, a few nice uppercuts and a couple little 1-2s to the body, he just didn't throw much really.
Yeah, look, it was just it wasn't a great performance. It wasn't a very convincing performance. I think you summed up well. I think it's just its activity. It's
Mm.
not doing enough. It's not doing enough in the rounds to win them. I do find Lyndon Arthur sometimes a bit of a frustrating watch because I do think he can be a quality fighter. I just find like he is happy to fight at a slow pace, which can be
Mm-hmm.
quite frustrating. And sometimes it feels like he just is in just in first gear, isn't trying as hard as he could be, and yeah, not the most entertaining fighter. However, look, he now moves to 23-1. He can punch. He's a powerful fighter. That's his 16th stoppage and 23 wins. But what do you think happened tonight, Owen? Was Suarez, we should mention, didn't make weight. Yesterday's weigh-in was under a pound overweight, but still wasn't eligible to win the title tonight. What did you with Arthur? Do you think he underestimated Suarez? Was Suarez just better than we all thought he was going to be? Don't know. Strange. Just why? Like, can you give any reason for us as to why we've seen a poor performance from Lyndon Arthur tonight?
I think it's a bit of both for what you mentioned there. To be honest, I think I've seen Suarez's record. Obviously, he's got a good record on paper, but no, when you look through the names, no names really on his record, none that I recognised, or I don't think I've seen any of the names on his record box. So, like when we said with the Dylan Moran video, these fighters are so hard to judge, um, and I do think Lyndon Arthur, he's got a very good jab, Lyndon Arthur. I will give him his dues on that. He has got a good jab to sit behind. So I do think he's expecting not necessarily an easy night's work, but the way the first round went into the second, he's probably thinking, I can sit behind my jab here. It's going to be too good for Suarez. And to be honest, I think potentially the fact he couldn't win the title may have had an element of and a factor as to why Suarez fought the fight he fought. I mean, if he can't win the title, what else has he got to lose? Go for the knockout. If he gets the knockout, says he made a mistake on the way in, he'll come back better next time and he gets another big fight and another big opportunity. So I do possibly think he's gone for broke, but I really do think Lyndon Arthur has sort of not necessarily looked past him, but definitely underestimated him because, like you say, his activity isn't amazing, but he can still box. Like you say, 16 stoppages. He's obviously got power. He just didn't throw enough for me. He just tried to sit behind the jab, and I think Suarez, with nothing to lose, has been as game as we've seen, sort of thing, and
Mm.
he's brought the fight to Arthur. And hey, I think you hit the nail on the head. Arthur doesn't like too much of a frantic pace, So when Suarez is sort of forcing it, it changes his game plan.
Yeah, I think you're right, mate. I think look, at the end of the day, Arthur, look, it doesn't matter if you lose every round and then you win by stoppage in the 12th round, you've still won the fight. Lyndon Arthur still won the fight tonight. I think it was tougher than expected. And at the end of the ninth round, I'm not sure you would have had many people backing him to win that fight. To be honest, let's be honest, he didn't look like stopping Suarez at all. I wouldn't say. I think you mentioned there he was kind of, it would be interesting to see the official scorecards. I personally had it. He was 6-3 down plus a knockdown Suarez's favor at the end of the ninth round. I know you had it similar. I
Mm-hmm.
question if you can give Arthur more than 3 rounds out of those 9 completed rounds that we saw, but I don't know, maybe the official scorecards at the time will pop out of somewhere. Um, where do you think this leaves Lyndon Arthur, Owen? I think we've got Josh Boazzi and Dan Aziz fighting each other in a few weeks' time, which is a great fight. Anthony Yard's back in action, I think, in a couple of weeks' time on the Zhang Joyce 2 undercards. Um, so those are kind of those. I think most people would say those are the three best British light heavyweights. Lyndon Arthur, he's got this IBO belt. He's 32 now, so not a young fighter. Um, what do you think will happen next? I think obviously, look, we know what's happening with those world titles at the moment. The Turbiev's fighting Callum Smith in January now. Bivol, not sure what's happening with Bivol, but hopefully we see him out before the end of the year. But yeah, I don't see Lyndon Arthur fighting for a world title anytime soon. But what do you see happening?
I personally think he'll need another similar style fight to that because he, like I say, his ring activity isn't overly impressive. We shall say, it wasn't the best performance we've seen from him, and it's like Joe McNally said in the interview with Danny on the channel, like JJ Metcalf picking up the IBO title. It's almost like a gateway to other titles. So when you pick the IBO up, it's you. Although you are recognised as a world champion, it's more. See with Maxi Hughes, you win the IBO, you have another fight. If you come through the next fight, then you get the big fights. So I had a look through the rankings prior to the fight, and I'll be honest, I really struggled to see an opponent. Because, like you say, Dan Aziz and Buatsi, could he fight the loser of that coming off a win? Is a bit of a weird one. The winner of that, their stock is looking, especially with obviously, especially like Buatsi with the name he should be carrying. Obviously, if Dan Aziz gets the win, I think either of those look towards a world title fight. So I think the only option really is we don't really know what Anthony Yard's going to be doing next, and some of the bigger names in the division, like you say, Callum Smith, Beterbiev, they're not going to look twice at Lyndon Arthur at the moment. So I think he's in a sticky position. Really, I think if he went in there, bombed Suarez out in 2 rounds, then you can argue a different sort of perspective from it. But I think from that, another similar sort of unbeaten, sort of like a 19-0, 20-0, even if someone's got a loss or a draw on their record, it's not the end of the world. I think another style fighter like that, and realistically, I think Arthur needs a fight like that, and he needs to be told personally, I think by his team that we need to see more. Otherwise, those big names that myself and yourself have mentioned, they're a million miles away, really.
Yeah, I think so. I'd agree with you. I don't think we're going to see Lyndon Arthur in a big fight next. Um, but we'll see. You never know. We'll have to see what happens. Owen, we'll leave it there. But as always, thanks very much for your time. We'll see what's next for Lyndon Arthur.
Pleasure, mate.